Okay, so we are going to be making a smiley. It's not really a smiley, it's more of like a cringy, but this will teach you how to use a lot of the tools in SketchUp, and that is what the goal is. So we're going to go ahead and open up SketchUp. Maybe. Okay, and you want to choose the simple inches template. I think I did that twice. Okay. Okay, so we've got our dude here. The first thing I'm going to have you do is go up here to File and Save As. Okay, what we are going to want to do is tell this where we want it to save. And I want to do this now instead of right before you close or right before you get to the end of class, because you might not make it all the way through this video. And if that's the case, then I want to make sure that you have it saved and it's not panicked, because I won't be able to know when you're going to stop in the video. All right, so we are going to change the file name down here from Untitled to Smiley, and then your last name. So yours isn't going to be Smiley Marino, it's going to be Smiley Jones or whatever your last name is. All right, then before we press save down here, we're going to come up here and we are going to find over here we're going to find your OneDrive, and we are going to find your TechEd 7 folder. Okay, now I have a lot more in my TechEd 7 folder because this is you guys' stuff. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to save mine in my 2025 SketchUp files. You don't have to make another folder, okay? So you just make sure yours saves in your TechEd 7 folder. Then go ahead and press save. All right, it's important that you save it in your OneDrive TechEd 7 folder so we know where to find it, and so that you can access it on another computer if you need to. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to change this to top view. Okay, so we talked the other day about how Tom here is a cardboard cutout and we see him here. We are going to go ahead and use the pan tool to draw this down a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and zoom in. So I'm just going to push forward on my mouse wheel a little bit. I can't see Tom anymore, and that's okay. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get my pencil tool. Now here, this is super, super important. You are going to need to tap your mouse button, and then you're going to move your mouse button or you're going to move your whole mouse in the direction that you want it to go. Okay, so I'm going to tap, so press down and let go, and I'm going to move my mouse in this direction. Now if you notice, here it turns red, everywhere else it's black. Okay, that means that my line right now is parallel to the x-axis. All right, now I'm making it longer, shorter, but we talked the other day about how we are not going to eyeball this. All right, what we are going to do is we are going to be making this smiley, okay? Now, we are going to be just first drawing a square. So we're going to take this 4-inch top edge, and then there's 1 3/4 inches from that end of the top edge to this far right side. So we are going to make a single line that is adding those together. So 4 plus 1 3/4 inches ends up being 5 3/4. So this is what we do with that. Okay, over here, I have not touched anything. I tapped it, and then I moved it to the right. Oops, that'd be that way. And now I'm going to, on my keyboard, I have to click anywhere else. I'm just going to type in 5 space 3/4, and then I'm going to press enter. I don't know if it does not show it on here. Yours may show that length down here. Now, I made this line and it's not very big, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll in so that I can see it better. Okay, so this line here is now 5 3/4 inches exactly because I typed it in. Okay, so you type it, you just show SketchUp what the direction is that you want it to go, and then you type in how far you want it. Okay, so now if we go back here, the height I can find over here, and that's going to be 5 1/8 inch. I have handouts. It's a lot easier to just grab the handout than to keep going back and forth, but you can't see that. So now I'm going to type in 5 space 1/8 and press enter. And now that length is 5 1/8 inches. Okay, we're just making a square, so this bottom edge is going to be 5 and space 3/4. And then I can just come up here, and that green endpoint is telling me that I'm going to close it up. Okay, and when I have a closed figure, it's going to turn white. If this is still gray and you can still see like the ground basically, then you have a break somewhere in here. Okay, and it's really important that it turns white because we're not going to be able to make it 3D unless it's a closed figure. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to grab our measurement tool or tape measurer, okay, because we're going to create some guidelines. So we're going to go ahead and click on the tape measurer tool, and we're going to come over here to the right side. Over here, back on our diagram here, schematic, we see that this slanted edge is 1 3/4 inches from the side, and it is, the end of it is 2 1/8 inch from the top edge. Okay, so we're going to make 2 guidelines that fit those dimensions. So I'm going to make sure that I have this red square on the edge. I'm going to tap my mouse, and then I'm going to draw my guideline to the left. All right, and it's 1 3/4 inches from that right side. So I'm going to type 1 space 3/4 and press enter. Now there's 1 3/4 inches from the right side. We're going to go ahead and tap our mouse on the top edge and start drawing it down. See how that line is green now? It was red when I moved it the other way. And we're going to type in, now see what you see here is that it gives you, it says 2 7/8, but right before it there's a little squiggly line. That means is about. Remember, we don't eyeball things. So it might be close, but it's not exact. So we're going to type it in. So I'm going to type in 2 space 1/8. You can also do the decimals for those as well. Okay, so now I have 2 guidelines that intersect on these sides exactly where I want that slant to go. So now I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to get my line tool, that pencil, and I'm going to tap on the intersection. It'll say intersection when you're hovering over it, and you'll see like a tiny little X. So go ahead and click on that, and then so you just tap it, and then you're going to draw it down till you get to the other intersection, and you'll tap it again. Okay, so now we have that corner sectioned off. And I'm going to go ahead, and now I'm going to get the eraser tool. The eraser tool can work one of 2 ways. You can either hold it over just one section and delete it, or you can draw and click on your mouse button, your left mouse button, and drag it over it, and then it will delete. You can do multiple lines. So I'm going to delete my guidelines, and I'm going to click and drag over both of them. See how they both turn blue? And I'm going to let go. Now, sometimes we do those things accidentally. So if you delete something that you don't mean to, you can do undo erase. Okay, if you go to edit, you can undo it. But the shortcut is Control Z. Okay, Control Z will bring those back. And then if I'm like, oh, I didn't really need to get rid of those, I can redo, or I need to get rid of those. I shouldn't have brought them back. Then you can do redo, and that's actually Control Y. So Control Z takes you back a step, Control Y redoes it. So I don't need those, so I'm going to redo it. Okay, so now I'm going to get my guidelines again, and I'm going to get my tape measure. So we are taking a look now at the Smiley drawing, and we are going to be drawing the eyes. Okay, now this eye is 1.5 inches from the left side, and then this dimension here shows that it's 4 1/8 inch from the bottom edge. So we're going to be making both of those guidelines. Now we can make both of the eyes are 4 1/8 inch from the bottom. So that one guideline gives us the height, or the Y dimension for both of the eyes. And then there's 2 inches in between them. So I'm going to go back to SketchUp. And again, you don't have to keep going back and forth. You can go ahead. Now, if I click on a midpoint, see how it's blue? It's going to act differently. So I don't want that, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to make sure that I have this red square. It behaves in an easier way to deal with. So I'm going to click and tap, and then I'm going to type in 1.5, because that's just the decimal form, or you can do 1 space 1/2 for 1 1/2. Okay, so that is going to be 1.5 inches from that left side. And then we said that the other one was 4 1/8. So we're going to come down here to the bottom edge, make sure we have that red square, and go up 4 space 1/8 and press enter. Okay, so now we have those two guidelines. We need to look back. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, we're going to go ahead and look back, and this, there are 2 inches in between the eyes. So we're going to give ourselves one more guideline and go back to the tape measure, and we are going to click on the guideline. Okay, so make sure that you have that red square while you're hovering over the guideline. And you really aren't going to want it to line up with any particular side, because you want that big long guideline. So if I'm lined up here, I'm not going to like that. All right, so I want a place where it's not lined up with any other vertex or anything on the figure. So I'm going to go ahead and click it. I'm going to move it to the right, and I'm going to type in 2 and enter. Okay, so this gives me both of the intersections where I'm supposed to have my eyes. We're going to go ahead and grab the circle tool. Okay, and it's obviously a circle. We're going to go to the intersection, and I'm going to click on it. Click on that intersection, and if you're looking, when I am drawing out that circle, if I'm drawing it out like this, it's black, but if I'm in line with the axes, it's going to give me a red or a green line. Now, if I zoom in, you'll see that this isn't really a circle, it's a many-sided polygon. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our Smiley, and it says the diameter of the circle is 1 inch. But when we look back here, we're drawing a line that goes from the center of the circle to the outside, and that's the radius. Diameter goes all the way across the circle. Radius is half of that. So we are going to take that diameter and divide it in half. It should be a radius. So instead of 1 inch, it's going to be 1/2 inch. Okay, now, it's not so important on the eyes, but we are going to make sure that we are on that, we are parallel with that y-axis. We want to make sure it's green. It doesn't matter so much with the eyes, but it is going to matter with the mouth that we do. Okay, so I'm going to type in 0.5. You can do 1/2, 1/2 if you want. All right, and then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do 0.5, and then we have both of our eyes. Okay, so, oops. All right, so I'm going to draw this up. I did my temporary shortcut to get my pan tool. I pressed down on my middle mouse button and then my left mouse button so that I could temporarily have the pan tool without having to get rid of my circle. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and do the mouth. So we are actually, let's take a look at our drawing. So our mouth, the side of the circle down here, or the side of the mouth down here, we're going to make the mouth with 2 circles and then draw lines in between. And then with this, this mouth, the center of the circle that forms the left side of the mouth is 1.5 inches from the side, which is same as the eye, which is awesome. Okay, the other side, we're going to draw another circle that's 2.5 inches, and the distance between the eyes was only 2. So when we go back, I'm going to click delete, and I'm going to delete that line there because we don't need that, and it's just going to get confusing if we leave it. So, and it is here we see that the centers of the circle have to be 2 inches from the bottom. Okay, so we're going to go back here and we need another guideline. We're going to come down here, click on it, and move it up, and it's going to be, I'm going to type in 2 and press enter. And then there's 2.5 inches between, so I'm going to type, or I'm going to tap my mouse button. I'm going to start moving it to the right, and I'm going to type in 2.5 or 2 space 1/2. Alright, and then I'm going to go back and grab my circle tools and right on those intersections again. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type in 0.5 because if we see back on our drawing, this has a radius of 1/2, which is, it's the exact same size as your eyes. So it's just a different way of making the dimensions. Okay, so I'm going to make the second one on this intersection. Now this is where it's really important that I'm actually going to go back. It's really important that you click on the intersection and that you make that line green when you go up. So we're going to do 0.5. Because the reason is when you are going straight up, you make sure that the top of that circle is right on that line, and we have to draw lines in between them. So I'm going to do 0.5 again. If you start here and you start moving it out in a different direction, it makes it so you might not be able to, it just makes it harder to connect these because we're going to draw a line from right here. So I have a green dot for my endpoint, and then I'm going to use my pan tool so I can see my other one, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this endpoint right here. If it needs to be at the top of the circle, and if the top of the circle isn't on that line, then your line's going to be a little wonky and it's not going to delete as well. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom and I'm going to draw a line across as well. Then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to grab my eraser tool, and we're going to just erase and tap on those inside circles. Alright, so we have our eyes and our mouth now. And I'm going to go ahead and delete our guidelines because we don't need those anymore. Alright, so now we are going to make it 3D. So we're going to press on our push-pull tool. Okay, so this is what happens when we make something 3D is we call it extruding. And extruding is when we take a 2D object and we pull it up to make it 3D. So once you get this push-pull tool right here, you're going to come over here. Whatever you are going to pull up is going to get that dot pattern on it. If it doesn't have the dot pattern or it doesn't leave out the parts that you don't want to make 3D, then you have a problem. Now we are not going to delete the backs of these just yet. If we delete them before we make it 3D, then we end up not having insides to our holes because that's just how it works. Okay, so we are going to hover over this larger portion and make sure that we are not on the eyes or the mouth. And we're going to tap on it and start drawing it up. All right, now if I go down, then those holes that are created are down. Okay, now I need to go back here, and we're going to look, and here, right in the corner, it shows you that the depth is 1/2. So we're going to type in 0.5, making sure that it's moving in the right direction, and so now that depth should be 1/2 inch. Okay, now I'm going to go get my selection arrow, and I'm going to select the back panels of each of the eyes. Okay, make sure that they get that dot pattern, and you need to press delete, like the delete cut button, not backspace, delete. Okay, you can also right click on it and select erase. Okay, so now we have a smiley face that we can see. And we are going to, oops, let's just go ahead, there we go. Okay, so I had gotten a little off when I was doing my orbiting. If you click on that top again, it brings you back to this orientation, which is really nice. Okay, let's see, let's go ahead and make sure, so what we're going to need to do is when you turn this in, you need to have everything with dimensions on it. You have to prove to me. So if you look at the drawing, yours is going to look very, very similar to this, except it's not going to have your name, or my name down here, it's going to have your name. So we're going to come back here and we're going to grab our dimension tool. I'm actually going to end this video now, and then I'll do dimensions in another video, so it doesn't get too long. Alright? Tune in to the next video to see how you do dimensions.